Martyn Keigher. Really enjoyed my conversation with Martyn. I've known him from afar for a very long time, but this is the first time we actually had a conversation. We talk about first of all, we talk about Formula One and auto racing, which is fascinating to me. I don't know much about it. But he created MSP Geek. He is a technician. He is a MSP evangelist, of course, a managed service provider, which is outsourced IT to small to medium-sized businesses. Great conversation with Martyn. I love his insight. MSP Geek was this IT community from ConnectWise, from automation that's really expanded out to itself, where they want to get down to the technical issues and how to solve them. Great conversation with Martyn. I had this conversation with him at ConnectWise, IT Nation, Automation Nation in downtown Tampa at the ConnectWise headquarters. It was recorded early September 2024. Great conversation with Martyn. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because I was working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others.
What is it about racing that intrigues you?
It's just me in the road. Me in the car. Not like complete control, but it's just, no distractions, just getting on with it, really. And competitive nature too, that's always a good thing. It's relaxing, soothing.
And so are you into cars? Do you like engines? Or is it more about the driving?
It's more about the driving. If I broke down on the side of the road, I would have no clue how to fix the car. But that's what, insurance coverage is for, right?
Yeah.
That's Put me in front of a PC though.
They're all set.
That's my zone.
So what's your favorite car to drive?
Well, I'm not driving the most exotic car right now, but I would say the it's a difficult question.
Yeah.
They all race and they all drive differently, so it really depends on what I'm what I'm driving for, really. So it's a tough to say one single one. So.
I'm not a big car guy, but my buddy had a 7 Series M BMW.
Right.
And I'm telling you something, Martyn, that thing was teasing me to push it further. I'd lean on it a little bit, and I could just tell it wanted to go more. It's like I had a conscience almost. It was creepy.
Hey, sometimes when you lose yourself, that's when you have the most fun.
It was unbelievable, though. Do you sense this? I mean, it was
yeah.
it was 8 cylinders, crazy vehicle.
Oh yeah, it's like I want you to drive me hard.
It was tempting me.
Yeah.
It was.
That's what they're built for.
I mean, it's a road vehicle, like a high performance road vehicle. Those engineers, that's what it's for, right?
Yeah. It's good fun.
Yeah, and a Tesla? I mean, do you like... Explain. And the speed, but not the performance?
I don't know. I'm pretty old school.
Yeah.
I like a car just to, sound like a proper engine.
You want a combustible engine?
I don't want to drive a microwave.
But there's motors in all four. You've been in a Tesla. You've seen it go to 60 in a second or two.
I would drive one. I would never own one. I just prefer the acoustics of a real engine.
Yeah, and some of them actually add noise.
I know, that's fake.
It's horrible.
That's fake.
That's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So do you follow Formula One?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yep.
And there's 20 teams, correct?
10 teams,
10.
10 teams, 20 drivers. Yeah.
10 teams and 20 drivers. And every year they some come in, some leave?
Teams typically stay, drivers tend to shift.
So in English Premier Football, there's relegation, where where teams get lowered if they're in the bottom 3 or bottom 4?
Yeah, quite the context switch from Formula One.
Yeah.
But,
It's not
yeah.
the same in Formula One?
No, not usually.
They just stay.
It depends on contracts. It can also depend on performance. It's like, hey, it's not working out at this team. We'll help you get into another team, or maybe one of our sister teams in like a lower division or category of racing. Yeah.
When driving, what's the big difference between open wheel and closed wheel? Like NASCAR. I know the Formula One look at NASCAR as kind of a
Oh, man, that's a really good...
subunit, a farming kind of. Formula One is constantly turning. It's on the road, right? It's very.
It's...
But it's open wheel.
It is. I think the concept more of Formula One, it's all in the cornering. Like some of the, like you'll say, like, well, the cars drive just the same speed, but it's the cornering and the turning that where Formula One, like if you watch, like say a NASCAR or like an Indy car, and then a Formula 2 and then a Formula 1 car, all drive the same like cornering and stuff. The Formula 1 car is just off because it's its ability, the downforce on the car itself. It just sticks to the road. The downforce is insane.
Wow. Have you ever been in a Formula One car?
Oh no. Not
Why?
yet.
What would happen?
No, nothing happened. I'm just not rich.
Oh, but there's like some tracks like in Las Vegas. Isn't there one where you can like get in a track and go in this car?
Yeah, they do like the 2-seater, like you can get drove around and stuff.
I see.
I've not done that yet.
That's got to be incredible.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
That's got to be absolutely incredible. Actually, Las Vegas had a Formula One race, didn't they?
Last year, yeah. It was their first one.
The first one in the U.S.?
No.
Oh,
first
no,
first one in Vegas since the 80s or 70s.
Wow.
So
Isn't there one in St. Pete as well?
that's IndyCar.
Oh, that's IndyCar.
Yeah, the Formula One races. So there's 3 Formula One races in America: Miami, Austin, and Vegas.
Have you been to them?
Not yet. I do plan on it though. That's like the
gotta be
trifecta,
something.
right?
That is
So you
it,
got
right?
IndyCar at St. Pete, NASCAR at Daytona, and Formula One at Miami.
Wow.
I'd love to hit those 3 in the same calendar year. That's a little bucket list item of mine.
Sure. And why is the one in Monte Carlo so high? Is that the highest level?
No, so it's the Prestige. It's the Prestige that comes with that one in Monaco.
Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have a Formula, like a lot of like the older, kind of dating myself a little bit, but like some of the older fans, like the more purists, they prefer like the racetracks in Europe. But then you've got like the Monaco track is like the elite of the elite. It's like you can't have a Formula One season without Monaco, and there's even been a petition to like make it its own race, not even part of the season.
Really?
But just like Ferrari is enshrined into Formula One, Monaco is also just as it's just freaking awesome.
It's cool, huh?
Yeah.
I'm halfway through a biography of Enzo Ferrari. What a fascinating man he was. My goodness, turn of the century. But I mean, he would be obstinate and tell the people in Germany, if you want to see real cars, come to me. He was just very.
See, Germany has the engineering. Italy has the passion. So when you smash them two together, you're gonna be good.
And of course, he would always say, "I make engines, but you could have the car for free." Right?
Possibly.
I think that's what he said.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. He'd have his engineers like sign each piece of the engine. They'd actually initially.
That's actually really cool because then they have like the sense, like there's more sense of ownership on what
right.
it is they're making.
What it
you know?
is,
and
yeah.
they want it to succeed. Like my name's on that, literally. So.
I just made me think like Rolls Royce. Isn't it like 90% of every Rolls Royce ever made is still on the road? There's some crazy high number. Maybe even the 80s. Have you ever heard this?
I don't know that, but I believe it.
Yeah. It's talking about pride in their vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Beer and coffee. Well, there's an interesting combination.
Beer. Oh yeah. Coffee in the AM, beer in the PM.
And depending on the day, it could switch. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I work in IT.
Yes.
That's because of coffee. I grew up in the UK, and that explains the beer.
Yes. A little of both because it's not a big coffee country, the UK.
No, obviously more of the tea. Pinky out.
Yes.
And all that, but I don't drink tea.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I never had a cup of coffee my whole life.
You should go get one.
Yeah, there, I
It's
know.
not the greatest, but you should
Yeah.
go try one.
What's the best coffee? Who makes the best coffee?
Oh, my God.
Is there a chain that makes the best coffee?
No, because it's a chain. I mean,
Right.
It's good. It's drinkable.
Yes.
But it's not like peak.
And when
coffee.
you make your own, you have your own machine. How do you do it?
I like to try different, just like beer, right, and coffee, and steaks as well. I just like to try different ones,
Right.
Just like expand the palate a little bit, because if you just drink the same one all the time, you just, I'm not that monotonous. I would
see.
hope not, So, but yeah, there's a
sounds
lot
good.
of different. There's a lot of lovely coffees, a lot of lovely beers, steaks. You name it. You just got to have the variety.
That's a combination. You ever make your own beer?
No.
He does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I need to try some of his.
Yeah. That's a lot of patience there. Yeah. You're from the UK. Do you follow a club?
Chelsea.
Ah,
Based in London.
sure. All right. U.S. owners, some flipping happening, some big.
I've heard about this. Yeah.
Yes.
Clear Lake and Todd Bowley.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to buy each other out.
They sure do. Yeah. Because there was a Russian person, and then they
Roman Abramovich.
and then they
Yeah.
went down in Ukraine. They pretty much
Yep.
ousted him and seized his yacht and everything. But
Yeah.
I'm a City fan. Last thing you want to hear is
No, they're a great team.
Yeah.
I'm from Manchester,
Ah.
so
What happened?
long story, different podcast. But no, I'm so from Manchester. I've gone to several United games,
Yes, of
City
course.
games.
Yes.
Long before City were.
Sure.
Good.
Who they are now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my good friends, City fans and United fans, but I'm the Chelsea fan.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's
good
on
for
the- it's
you.
on the hat,
Yes, I
really.
see it right. Yeah, I see it right there. Yeah, it's a great team.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans played for Chelsea at one time or another.
A few have,
Yeah,
gone in and
gone
out.
and out. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Pulisic was the most
Yeah,
prevalent.
Sure.
Shall we say?
well, he's our Superman right now here in
He
the
is.
States.
I have a shirt. I have a Chelsea shirt with Pulisic
Ah,
on the back.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
at Milan now.
Correct.
Yeah, taking all their penalty kicks. Yeah, he's a great player. World Cup's here in 2 years
It is.
in North America. Should be
Yep.
great. So you push for England. They had a nice wind.
No,
They had a
I
nice
don't.
wind. You don't. You don't.
No. Germany. It's my team. My granddad was German.
Ah.
So when he introduced me to football, we would watch a lot of Germany games from like the 60s, 70s. So I have a much more emotional connection to that national team. And then when I was growing up, obviously in the UK, and we would watch Germany versus England,
Yes.
my granddad would be sat there just like, if England would score, you could tell he was like, because he's obviously kind of both.
Sure.
Right? But he had more passion and energy for Germany, and obviously, my granddad was my hero, right? So I'm going to support that. So Germany's my team.
Franz Beckenbauer. What does he mean to you?
Oh, he passed away recently,
Yes.
and I took that pretty hard.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
One of the greatest.
He and Gerd Muller.
Muller.
And then a little later, like Rudi Voller,
Yeah.
right? They mean a lot
Yeah.
to me, and yeah.
We have an Adidas shoe here in the United States, the Beckenbauer, which I've used all my life. I mean,
Yeah, Beckenbauer was like the first like model professional footballer that I ever like got introduced to, shall we say. He means a lot.
yeah, wonderful tradition.
Or
in
meant a lot.
Germany.
Or means a lot to me. Yeah.
Sure, still does. Yeah, even the players they have now. I mean, the one he's got a Polish name. I can't think of his name. Polish last name, but he's German. Even City has Gundogan, who's a German.
He has. Yeah, he's German, Turkish
Yeah.
descent. I think the Polish who played for Germany, that was Podolski.
Podolski, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Such a great tradition.
Great striker,
yeah. How'd you get into IT, Marty?
I was at a friend's house one day, and his dad was building a PC. all the kids ran outside, and I was like,
Huh.
what's that? And this was like back in 94, 95, something like that. And I was just totally like
Is that?
captured, like
Yeah.
I was in it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he would like show me how to build a PC. Long story short, I would then time myself how long it could be to like, take the PC apart and then put it back together.
Huh.
And I would get it down to like
Whoa.
say 15 minutes or whatever it was. And it just became an absolute what's the word?
Obsession?
Yeah. There's a proper word for it. I can't think of it right now. It begins with let's see. It's like a. Sorry, I'm totally spacing. But yeah, it was just like, just curiosity, right? And then I was just like, I was in it, and then I wanted to like time myself, and then I would start building them for friends.
Wow.
And then I would start assisting like small businesses, like friends of family kind of thing, like with their PC problems and all that. And I just, and then I got lucky enough to, make a career out of that passion. And yeah, I've been with it ever since.
Huh.
So.
But that's the hardware. Soon enough, Dell took a lot of those white boxes away, right? Because the website was so easy to make and with these PCs.
Yeah, so after hardware, it really then became more of a, okay, well, what are you doing with this hardware? Obviously I'm too young to have, business conversations with people right now, and, what's this 19-year-old kid asking me questions about my business for? He doesn't know anything. I've been in business all my life. What does this kid know? Right? There was a lot of that. But anyway, I started off in the help desk. Sorry. So I started off in the help desk, cut my teeth, so to speak. Got a feel for it.
At an MSP?
No, internal IT back over in the UK.
I see.
Then I moved over to the States, and then I started working for... I moved over to the States in 2010. Started working for an MSP in 2011. And then we used this product. It was called LabTech at the time. Today, what we know as ConnectWise Automate. Became really, really good at that. And that's where I, kind of flex my muscles a bit. I was really good with that tool. And then I started working for ConnectWise to be product manager of that particular piece of software, which we now know today as Automate.
As Automate, yeah.
Yeah.
So the 2010. So when did Matt come over here with LabTech to Tampa? That was much before that. You know Matt.
Yeah, Matt Nicktrab.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know exactly when.
But he was still around when you were doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I moved to ConnectWise in 2017. So I moved down to Florida for ConnectWise in 2017. So they were already, well established as a ConnectWise. Well, not fully acquired, I don't think, at that time, or maybe. But yeah, it was 2017 when I started working for the team. I knew of the team. Like, I knew the product. Like, when I moved down here, I knew the product. I knew a lot of the people. I just didn't know, because I was a systems engineer, right? Or it's like an automation engineer. So I didn't know product management. So they taught me the process of product management. Because, you got to know the people, you got to know the product, you got to know the process. Well, I knew the people and the product. It was just the process. So...
And tell me the origins of MSP Geek.
So that was born out of a community of technicians using back at the time LabTech. It was called LabTech Geek when it started originally, and it was basically just a bunch of technicians using LabTech who needed help, and it grew and it kept growing, and then we eventually had like speaking spots or like sessions at what was, when it was a conference, Automation Nation, we would have like, a session at that conference for LabTech Geek. And then ConnectWise, they went through a master rebranding, right? And all the product names changed. So people came to the community, were like, well, what's LabTech? Like, we actually got laboratory technicians from like the science field coming in, and we're like, no. Wrong community. I'm sorry. So then we changed the name from LabTech Geek to MSP Geek. And by doing that, that also allowed us to kind of like spread our reach and spread our wings. And now we're not just looking at the technician persona, we're looking at business owners as well, right? So not just the decision influencers, but also the decision makers, right? So through, targeted approaches, not in a salesy way, because we're not sales, we're a learning and training and education community, right? Where, the mantra is rising tide raises all ships. That's kind of the point, right? We're not here for, sure, there's a little bit of healthy cooperation.
Sure.
Right? You don't want to give all your trade secrets away to just anybody you don't know, especially if that MSP is like in the same geographical area as you, or like, vertical, right? So obviously we were pretty, like, hey, this is a free community. What is it? You'll get out of it just as much as you are willing to put in, right? And we are here to make it work for you, right? So then that blew up, and then 2013 is when it started, LabTech Geek. So in 2023, last year, we had our first in-person conference.
Nice.
To celebrate, I guess in a way, 10 years of us being a community. It's like shit, we got to do something really cool.
Wow.
Apologies for the French.
Yeah.
So we, as a, obviously I've got like a team of admins helping me by this point. And we put on a really awesome conference.
Where?
It was in Orlando.
I remember this.
In May 2023. In May 2023 in Orlando was our first one. We had our second one this year, also in May.
Wow.
And we'll be in Orlando again next year. Tickets are not on sale yet.
And the goal of that conference is what?
Raising the technicians' game. I want the technicians and the people that come to the conference to feel like they have some actionable takeaways that they can put in place when they go back to their offices and just be better for it, right? But again, they'll get out as much as they put in, right? It's obviously always about the networking too, right? But the sessions were really tailored towards like the human element of IT. We're not teaching you how to do things in products. That's not the goal. It's basically like we had different tracks. So it was like there was a security track, a humanized IT kind of track, human element. And again, it was just to flip the mindset, change the mindset. The other track was automation. So yeah, it was just to improve the skills of that technician so that, they say, what is it? Train an employee so that they can leave, but treat them so that they want to stay, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we were basically giving people a platform to go better themselves. And, we've done that for years, but the conference, like the physical, like tangible aspects of that made it like, we're not just here for the sake of an online forum. We're here for real. Come see us, come hang out with us, and also let's have some phenomenal sessions as well.
Is it tool agnostic?
Yep, very. Yeah, very, very, very vendor agnostic. While the community was birthed out of a piece of software from ConnectWise, MSP Geek isn't like, owned or partnershiped or anything like that with ConnectWise, so to speak. It's just, for the industry. It's not here for a vendor or two. It's here for whatever.
There's so many events now, Marty. You got to compete against them. I mean, it's difficult for MSPs to choose.
It is, but what sets our community apart is it's not sales. The vendors know, hey, when you go to a conference, you obviously need to make that return on investment, right? You're going to have like a predefined, like we need to make this many scans, convert this many leads, and da-da-da. That's not what this is, because we have a room full of decision influencers. Of course, we're going to have a few decision makers too, but they're not the key target audience. And vendors know this when they go in for the sponsorship. So,
managing expectations.
That's what it's all about. That's IT. It's not a technical problem. It's not that it's a relationship problem, but we're all very well educated, right? Technology isn't the problem, right? It's the people.
Sure
People
is.
are great.
So we're here in the first floor of Tampa, downtown, first floor of
Yeah.
ConnectWise headquarters. It's Automation Nation going on. What's your goal in an event like this?
Networking. Once you've gone to so many events in the industry, it's really all about networking, right? What do they say? Kissing hands, shaking babies, whatever it is, right? But no, it's the networking, right? It's the human element of it all. With that, though, I'll obviously still walk in with an open, as an open book. I'm willing to learn, absolutely, right? But it's networking.
When I talk to MSPs, I'm a former MSP, but what keeps them up at night for the last 3 or 4 years has been pretty consistent. One is security. You talk about people.
Yep.
They're worried about their clients clicking on an email and getting ransomware. 2 is human capital. If my big technician leaves, how am I going to replace them? How am I going to get new? And then 3rd is growth. Just generally sales and marketing. PE has put so much money into the community. It's now worth something. What do you think about those 3?
Okay, so first off, security. No matter how much and what tools you put in place, you'll never be 100% protected.
Right.
It's a game of chess, never ending. There's no checkmate. I mean, occasionally there is, and then it's like, whoa, someone screwed up, right? But yeah, security is a forever constant. And honestly, all 3 of those things that you mentioned, it all really pins back to education. The industry is getting better, but has been lacking, I would say, over the past few years when it comes to educating the users. Like, vendors will educate the MSPs, but very rarely do the MSPs go back down to their clients sometimes. Or maybe I'm completely out of touch with that, but I feel like better education programs would assist that, and that's why, like, for instance, with MSP Geek, no plug, again, it's like changing the way in which people address the same issues, and at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong way. It's just the way that works for you is right. So, however you go about your business, hey, it works for you, great. I'm not here to change the way you do business, but with a little bit of added education, maybe you might just pick up a few breadcrumbs off of this table. You might not, and that's cool, but we appreciate you for participating, because hey, if you didn't get anything out of it, that's fine. But if you did, great, go apply that. So
and then human capital and growth.
Can't think I've got too much to say on either of those, really, like from like a experience perspective, but from the outsider's point of view, again, human capital, train your employees so they can leave, but treat them so they want to stay. And as for growth, hey, you're going to have some bad quarters every now and again. That's okay, right? You win and learn. You don't win and lose, right? Every mistake you make is a learning opportunity. A mistake is proof that you tried, and all that, whatever quote you can think of there. But yeah, I mean, those 3 things will be forever present. So those are, while very variable, they're very known variables. They're parameters. So we have to just work within those, knowing that
That's smart.
that little triangle, you're always going to be in that triangle. How you navigate that, that's for each business to figure that out.
So I started my MSP back in the 90s. I'm just a little bit older than you, and I was not paying attention to my health, Marty. I was working way late, 14-hour days, and next thing I know, I got myself up to 340 pounds. The doctor said to me, the doctor said to me, if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. My daughter was just born, so it scared me. I'm driving home, punching the steering wheel. Look what I've done to myself. So I lost about 6-7 months, lost about 130 pounds.
Way to go, you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I kept it off. You can't look at it as a finishing line, And
right.
So people want a quick answer. Well, what's your secret? What's your secret? So there's no secret, Marty. It was discipline. That's how I lost it. I got routine, willpower,
Discipline and consistency.
And consistency. How does discipline play a role in your life?
If you ask my wife, it doesn't. Please don't keep that in. No. You got to be willing to try and not be scared if you fail. Just try, just do it. Just do something. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Look back at that, retrospect, right? Okay, what was good, what was bad, what was ugly about that? Okay, well, now that I know that, I'm gonna go again. And if it means that much to you, you will reattempt it as many times as you deem it necessary to repeat it. If you don't repeat it, then clearly whatever that is didn't really mean much to you. So it's time investment for sure. You've got to invest in yourself. One thing that I've learned recently is, it's okay to be selfish. It's selfish typically has like this negative connotation tied towards it. But honestly, for yourself, right, you've just got to be a little bit selfish. Not be an idiot to everybody, right? But just look after yourself, So yeah, discipline is just sticking to your values. Yeah. I want this really badly, and I am prepared to keep going until I figure out how to do it well. Sometimes on that road, you will piss people off. And that can sometimes, have an effect, but sometimes it doesn't. But if you're that adamant about something and you're that hungry, you're going to keep going for it. And when you get there, like you have done in your journey, that's, results will show. So,
Martyn, thank you so much for your time today. Great pleasure.
Yeah.
I know the name, I know the face, and now I know what you're about and what you like, kind of. Thanks
awesome.
so much.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.